Live from the BDN Studios, it's Bang and Dang.
That's awesome.
If you don't like that, then
You ain't black.
General Jones learned of the plan to go to Mexico through some pretended friends of Bass.
You can't trust nobody.
Right. He, with Captain Peake and other officers, approached Jim Murphy, one of Bass's gang captured at about the time of the Salt Creek fight. He was awaiting trial by the federal authorities for the train robbery, and they promised that they would secure his release if he would betray his friend, his buddy.
Well, Murphy hesitated and said his former chief had been kind to his family, had given them money and provisions, and that it would be ungrateful to betray his friend.
Yeah, that's true.
The general declared he understood Murphy's position fully, but Bass was an outlaw, a pest to the country, who was preparing to leave the state, and so he could no longer help him. General Jones warned Murphy that the evidence against him was overwhelming and was certain to send him to the federal prison, probably for life, and exhorted him to remember his wife and children. Just think of your wife and kids.
Wow.
You're still going to jail.
Right.
Murphy finally yielded and agreed to betray Bass and his gang at the first opportunity.
Oh, no. Do you think Bass?
How do you not know this guy's got caught?
Right.
And then he's just going to come strolling back. Hey, guys, I'm out.
He took this all. They had nothing.
Right.
What do you mean? $10,000 in gold that you had on you? Where's your gold, Johnny?
It wasn't him.
All right. According to the plan agreed upon, Murphy was to give bond. And when the federal court convened at Tyler, Texas a few weeks later, he was not to show up.
Well, there you go.
It would then be published all over the country that Murphy had skipped bond and rejoined Bass. This was carried out to the letter. Murphy joined Bass in Elm Bottoms of Denton County and agreed to rob a train or a bank and get out of the country. Quick. Pronto. Some of Bass's friends, suspicious of Murphy's bondsman, wrote Sam that Murphy was playing a double game and advised him to kill the traitor at once.
Should have did it. Should have did it, Sammy. Well, Bass immediately confronted Murphy with these reports and reminded him how freely he had handed out his gold to Murphy's family. Bass declared he had never advised or solicited Jim to join him and said it was a low-down, mean, and ungrateful trick to betray him. Ooh. He told Murphy plainly if he had anything to say it quickly. Barnes agreed with his chief and urged Murphy's death. He said, kill that motherfucker.
Shit.
Kill him, Sam.
Murphy's like, damn, motherfucker's smarter than I thought. Murphy denied any intention of betraying Bass, and he offered to take the lead in any robbery that Bass had planned and be the first to enter an express car or climb over the bank railings. He's like, I'll do whatever you need me to do, man. Put me in the front line. Bass and Barnes were very angry and decided to kill Murphy. Frank Jackson had taken no part in the conversation, but he now declared he had known Murphy since he was a little boy, and he was sure Murphy was sincere and meant to stand by them through thick and thin. Bass was not satisfied and insisted that Murphy be moited then and there.
Well, Jackson finally told Bass and Barnes that they could not kill Murphy without first killing him. Fine, pow pow. Mm-hmm. Although the youngest of the party at just 22 years old, Jackson had great influence over his chief. He was brave and daring, and Bass could not get along without him at the time, so his counsel prevailed, and Murphy was spared. And then they all agreed we need to get the hell out of this country, guys. They planned to rob a small bank somewhere on the way to Mexico and thus secure the funds needed to facilitate their escape because they ain't got no money. What the hell did you do with the $10,000, guy?
He just gave it away like an idiot. Bass, Seaborn Barnes, Frank Jackson, Jim Murphy left Denton County early July 1878. With his usual boldness, Bass, after he had passed through Dallas County, had no attempt at concealment, but traveled the public highway in broad daylight.
Yeah, the ball's on this guy, huh?
Damn, Bass and Bonds were still suspicious of Murphy and never let him out of their sight, though they refused to talk or associate with him in any way.
Damn. Well, when they reached Waco, the party camped on the outskirts of town and remained there for 2 or 3 days. They visited the town each day, looked over the situation, and saw much gold and currency in one bank. They're like, Jackson was enthusiastic and wanted to rob it at once.
Of course he did. He's like, no!
Being more careful and experienced, Bass thought it too dangerous for running through crowded streets to the outskirts of the city was too far, and so he said, we ain't going to do that.
Right. While in Waco, the gang stepped into a saloon to get a drink. Bass laid a $20 gold piece on the bar and remarked, there goes the last 20 from the Union Pacific, and done little good it has done me.
Damn little good.
On leaving Waco, the robbers stole a fine mare from a farmer named Billy Mounds.
Hey, Billy Mounds. Hi, Billy Mounds here.
Right. and traveled to the main road to Belton. They were now out of money and planned to rob the bank in Round Rock, Texas. They had to.
All right. Well, General Jones, meanwhile, was by then getting anxious over the gang. Not a word had been heard from Jim Murphy since he had rejoined the gang, for he had been so closely watched that he had no opportunity to communicate with the authorities. It seemed as if he would be forced to participate in the next robbery despite himself.
Oh.
Well, of course, he's going to have to.
Right, there's no choice. Well, in Belton, Sam sold the
They
next...
had to have talked to him, like when they let him out. They were like, we're going to have to probably commit a couple crimes with these guys. I'm sure it was no big deal as long as you don't kill somebody.
In Belton, Sam sold an extra pony that he had. The purchaser demanded a bill of sale as the vendors were strangers in the country. While Bass and Barnes were in a store writing out the required document, Murphy seized the opportunity to dash off a short note to General Jones saying, "We are on our way to Round Rock to rob the bank. For God's sake, be there to prevent it." Wow.
As the post office was right next to the store, Murphy succeeded in mailing his letter of betrayal just 1 minute before Bass came out on the street again. The gang continued to Round Rock and camped near the old town, which was situated about 1 mile north of New Round Rock. The bandits concluded to rest and feed their horses for 3 or 4 days before attempting the robbery.
Jeez.
This delay gave General Jones time to assemble his rangers to repel the attack. You guys should have just went for it.
Right. I mean, that's the problem. After General Jones was made Adjutant General of Texas, he sent a small detachment of 4 to 5 rangers to camp on Capitol grounds at Austin. He drew his units from different companies along the line. Each unit would be detailed to camp in Austin, and about every 6 weeks or 2 months, the detail would be relieved by a squad from another company. It will readily be seen that this was a wise policy, as the detail was always on hand and could be sent in any direction by rail or on horseback at short notice. So he had men at his disposal.
Right. Well, Jones was devoted to his Texas Rangers and liked to have them around where he could see them daily. At that time, 4 men from Company E, Corporal Vernon Wilson and Privates Dick Ware, Chris Connor, and George Harold, were camped at Austin. Corporal helped General Jones as a clerk in his office, but was in charge of the squad on the Capitol grounds, slept in camp, and had his meals with them.
Look at that.
Good for you.
Good for you, right? Okay, I guess we're going to this little story with General Jones, huh? Jeez. When General Jones received Murphy's letter, he was astonished at Bass's audacity in approaching within 15 or 20 miles of the state capitol, the very headquarters of the Frontier Battalion. He's like, I can't believe he's going to rob a bank there. The letter was written at Belton, Texas, and received at Adjutant General's office on the last mail in the afternoon. The company of Rangers nearest Round Rock was Lieutenant Reynolds' Company E, stationed at San Saba, 115 miles distant.
Wow.
There was no telegraph to San Saba at that time. General Jones reflected a few moments after receipt of the letter and then arranged his plan rapidly. He's like, oh, shit.
Well, he turned to Corporal Wilson and told him that Sam Bass and his gang were or soon would be at Round Rock, Texas to rob the bank. He says, I want you to leave at once to carry an order to Lieutenant Reynolds. It's 65 miles to Lampasas, and you can make that place early enough in the morning to catch the Lampasas and San Saba stage. You must make that stage at all hazards, save neither yourself nor your horse, but get these orders to Lieutenant Reynolds as quickly as possible.
Oh, shit. He's like, no matter what.
He said, I don't care if you work your horse to death. You better get there, then you better run after he dies.
Wow. Corporal Wilson hurried to his horse, saddled it up, and got away from Austin on his wild ride just at nightfall.
Good for you, bud.
Wilson reached the Lampasas at daylight the next morning and made the outgoing stage to San Saba. Look at that shit.
You, buddy.
Good following orders, bud. From Lampasas to San Saba was 50 miles.
Jeez.
And took the stage all day to make that trip.
Could have probably did it faster on a horse.
As soon as he landed in town, Corporal Wilson hired a horse and galloped 3 miles down to Lieutenant Reynolds' camp and delivered his orders.
Good little boy.
All right.
After dispatching Corporal Wilson to Lieutenant Reynolds, General Jones hurried over to the Ranger camp on the Capitol grounds and ordered the 3 Rangers, who were Ware, Connor, and Harold, to proceed to Round Rock, put their horses in Highsmith's livery stable, and keep themselves concealed until he could reach them himself by the train the next morning. Also, he gets to take the train.
Right.
The following morning, General Jones indeed went to Round Rock.
Oh, shit.
It's about to go down.
A fella named Morris Moore traveled with him from Austin. He's an ex-ranger, but then deputy sheriff of Travis County. On reaching his destination, the general called on Deputy Sheriff Grimes of Williamson County, who was stationed at Round Rock, and told him that Bass was expected to rob that very bank, and that a scout of Rangers would be in town as soon as possible. Jones advised Deputy Grimes to keep a sharp lookout for strangers, but on no account to attempt an arrest until the Rangers could arrive.
Okay. In the meantime, Sergeant Neville delivered Reynolds' orders to the Ranger camp at San Saba, which were brief and to the point. It says, Bass is at Round Rock. We must be there as early as possible tomorrow. Make a detail of 8 men and select those that have the horses best able to make a fast run. And you, with them, report to me here at my tent, ready to ride in 30.
Oh, shit.
Shit.
Damn. First Sergeant C.L. Neville, Second Sergeant Henry McGee, Second Corporal J.B. Gillett, Privates Abe Anglin, Dave Ligon, Bill Derrick, and John R. and W.L. Bannister.
Just John R.
I think they're bros.
Maybe, right? Yeah, John R. Bannister and W.L. Bannister.
They were all selected for this campaign. Lieutenant Reynolds ordered 2 of his very, very best little pack mules hitched up.
Little pack mule.
Right, hitched to a light spring hack, for he had been sick and was not in any condition to make the journey on horseback. Oh, he get to lay down.
30 minutes from the time Corporal Wilson reached camp, the Rangers were mounted, armed, ready to go.
Oh, damn.
Lieutenant Reynolds took his seat in the hack, threw some blankets in, and Corporal Wilson, who had not had a minute's sleep for over 36 hours, lay down to get a little rest. The Rangers left their camp on the San Saba River just at sunset and traveled in a fast trot the entire night.
Oh, look at that. Like fast trot. The sun was coming up when the Rangers crossed the North Gabriel River, 15 miles south of Lampasas. They had ridden 65 miles and had 45 miles yet to go before reaching Round Rock. They halted on the Gabriel River for breakfast. They had bread, broiled bacon, black coffee, and the horses were fed as well. I hope so.
That sounds like a fine breakfast to me. Bacon and bread, baby.
You ain't
got butter?
Broiled bacon.
Broiled.
Of course, black coffee. What else do I have? After just 30 minutes, they were off again, reaching the vicinity of Old Round Rock between 1 and 2 o'clock in the afternoon of Friday, July 19th, 1878. The Rangers, they camped on the banks of Brushy Creek, while the lieutenant drove into New Round Rock to report his arrival to General Jones.
Well, Bass had decided to rob the bank Saturday the 20th, so look at them, just right in time. After his gang had eaten dinner in camp Friday evening, they saddled their ponies and started to town to take a last look at the bank and select a route to follow in leaving the place after the robbery. As they left camp, Jim Murphy, knowing the bandits might be set upon at any time, suggested that he stop at May's store in Old Round Rock to get a bushel of corn as they were out of feed for their horses. Look at this pussy.
Bass, Barnes, and Jackson rode on into town, hitched their horses in an alley just back of the bank, passed that building, and made a mental note of its situation. They then went up to the town's main street and entered Copperell's store to buy some tobacco. As the 3 bandits passed into the store, Deputy Sheriff Moore, who was standing on the sidewalk with Deputy Sheriff Grime, said he thought one of the newcomers had a pistol.
I can't be taking a pistol.
Shit.
I will go in and see, replied Grimes. I believe you have a pistol, remarked Grimes, who approached Bass, trying to search him. Bass says,
Grimes goes into store.
Bass replied, yes, of course I have a pistol. Obviously, you know where you're at. At the words, the robbers pulled their guns and killed Grimes as he backed away to the door. Oh, shit. He fell dead on the sidewalk. They then turned on Moore and shot him through the lungs as he attempted to draw his weapon.
Damn it. Now they can't rob the bank.
Nope.
Well, that helped out, right?
Might as well take money in the cash register.
Right. At the crack of the first pistol shot, Dick Ware, who was seated in the barber shop only a few steps away, waited his turn for a shave. He rushed into the street and encountered the 3 bandits just as they were leaving the store. Seeing Ware rapidly advancing on them, Bass and his men fired on the Ranger at close range. One of the bullets striking a hitching post within 6 inches of his head and knocking splinters into his face. This assault never halted Ware for an instant. He's like, that don't matter me.
He was a brave little guy and never hesitated to take the most desperate chances when the occasion demanded it. For a few minutes, Dick fought the robbers single-handedly. Coming uptown from the telegraph office, General Jones ran into the fight. He was armed with only a small Colt's double-action pistol, but threw himself into the fray. Connor and Harold had now come up and joined in the fusillade. Seeing the robbers on foot and almost within his grasp, the general drew in close and urged his men to strain every nerve to capture or exterminate the desperados.
Oh, shit.
By this time, every man in town that could secure a gun joined in the fight.
Oh, shit.
We got ourselves another coffee town happening.
You ain't kidding. The bandits now had reached their horses and realizing the situation was critical. They fought with the energy of despair. If ever a train robber could be called a hero, this boy, Frank Jackson, proved himself one.
You good old Frankie.
Barnes shot down and killed at his feet. Bass was mortally wounded and unable to defend himself or even mount his horse while the bullets continued to pour in from every quarter. With heroic courage, Jackson held the Ranger's back with his pistol in his right hand while he unhitched Bass's horse with his left and assisted him into the saddle. Look at that shit.
Oh, Frankie. Then, mounting his own horse, Jackson and Bass galloped out of the jaws of hell itself.
Oh, shit.
In their flight, they passed through Old Round Rock when Jim Murphy, standing in the door of May's store, saw Jackson and Bass ride on past. Well, Murphy noticed that Jackson was holding Bass, pale and bleeding in the saddle. Lieutenant Reynolds, entering Round Rock, came within 5 minutes of meeting Bass and Jackson in the road. Before he reached town, he met posses of citizens and rangers in pursuit of these 2 very men. Wow.
Oh, shit. Wow. When Bass and Jackson reached the cemetery, Jackson halted long enough to secure a Winchester they had hidden in the grass there, then left the road and were lost for a time. The fight was now over, and because of two spoiled, over-jealous deputies bringing in an immature fight they had been warned to be careful of, Moore and Grimes should have known that the three strangers were the Sam Bass gang.
Right. They were told not to do anything.
Right, told not to do nothing, but these guys are like, pew, 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 pew.
Lieutenant Reynolds started Sergeant Neville and his rangers early the next morning in search of the flying bandits. After traveling in the direction the robbers were last seen, they came upon a man lying under a large oak tree. Seeing the armed rangers, the man called out to not shoot, saying he was Sam Bass.
No
Just
shit.
lying dead by the tree.
You ain't kidding. After entering the woods the evening before, Bass became so sick and fainted from loss of blood that he could move no further.
Go further.
Right. Jackson dismounted and wanted to stay with his chief, his tribal chief.
Acknowledge him.
Right.
Damn it.
Declaring that he was a match for all their pursuers. Right. I can do anything.
Right. I'll hold them off. Fuck them.
Bass says, no, Frank, I'm done for.
Done for, old buddy. Get out of here. Save yourself.
Right. The wounded leader told his companion to tie his horse near at hand so he could get away if he felt better during the night. Jackson was finally prevailed upon to leave Bass and make his own escape.
Well, when daylight came Saturday morning, Bass got up and walked to a nearby house. As he approached the place, a lady, seeing him coming, holding his pants up and all covered with blood, left her house and started to run off as she was alone with a small servant girl. Bass saw she was frightened and called for her to stop, saying he was perishing for a drink of water and would return to a tree not far and lie down if she would only send him a drink. Well, the lady indeed sent him a quart cup of water, but the poor fellow was too far gone to drink it.
Oh, wow.
He was found under this tree 1 hour later. He had a wound through the center of his left hand, the bullet having pierced the middle finger. That's it.
Really? He's going to die from that?
Nope.
Bass's death wound was given him by Dick Ware, who used a .45 caliber Colt's long barrel 6-shooter. The ball from Ware's pistol struck Bass's belt and cut 2 cartridges in pieces and entered his back just above the right hip bone. Oh, the bullet badly mushroomed and made a fearful wound that tore the victim's right kidney all to pieces. Damn. From the moment he was shot until his death 3 days later, Bass suffered untold agonies. As he lay on the ground Friday night where Jackson had left him, the wounded man tore his undershirt into more than 100 pieces and wiped the blood from his body.
Bass was taken around Rock and given the best of medical attention, but died the following day, Sunday, July 21st, 1878, which is his 27th birthday.
Ooh, 27 Club.
27 Club. He was the first member. While he was still able to talk, General Jones appealed to Bass to tell him the names of the rest of the gang members and where they might be.
No, why would he do that?
Right.
General Jones said, Sam, you have done much evil in this world.
Much evil.
And have only a few hours to live. Now, while you have a chance to do the state some good, please tell me who your associates were in those violations of the laws of your country. Sam replied that he could not betray his friends and that he might as well die with what he knew.
Good. Good for you, Sammy.
Sam Bass buried in the cemetery at Old Round Rock. Small monument was erected over his grave by his sister. Its simple inscription reads, Samuel Bass, born July 21st, 1851. Died July 21st, 1878. Brave man reposes in death here. Why was he not true?
Wow.